Welcome to the Heart-Centered Entrepreneur Podcast. I want you to be rich. Yes, I want abundant financial success for your business. But I don't just care about your business making money. I care about you too. I want you to be rich in happiness, in the impact you make, in your relationships, and in how you give back. I'm Anna. I built my six-figure business as a side hustle while I was pregnant with my daughter in 2016. Now I've helped dozens of women do the same. I'm here to help you build a profitable, heart-centered, fully booked business with the latest tips on sales and visibility, with proven mindset hacks, and sneak peeks behind the scenes with what's working right now in the online space and in my business. Ready to make more money with heart? Let's go. So I have this client, and this year she came to me and she said, I want to quit my business. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I feel like it's not working. And we talked through it. Next month was a 70K month. Month after that was an 80K month. And she took home a large portion of that, and she was working about a 20-hour work week. So I say that to say I have conversations with clients like this all the time where they want to quit. I also have conversations about clients wanting to quit when they're like, Anna, I'm in debt. I'm making no money. I haven't been signing clients this month. I just want to let you know this quitting conversation is so common among all of my clients, no matter where you're at. Building a business isn't easy. If you want something easy, go get a day job, right? However, the beauty about building a business is you're able to, over time, create unlimited amounts of money, and you're able to really shrink your work hours in a way that you'll never be able to do on a day job. So I realize that this conversation about quitting is something that I have with clients, community members all the time, but I realize I don't think I've ever done a podcast episode on it, right? I don't know, maybe some of the women that have been here with me from the start, maybe you remember an episode like that, but I searched and I couldn't find one. So I want to have this open conversation about quitting because I think it's very important on the macro level of like, hey, I'm thinking about quitting my business because I'm so frustrated or it's feeling unaligned, or micro quitting, right? Something in my business isn't working, my message, the way I'm growing my audience, this income stream, and I need to quote, quit this thing and shift. Or maybe you didn't choose to quit it, but it kind of quit on for you. Like maybe it just stopped working, right? I'm obsessed with this conversation. Okay, I've taken so many notes. So grab your notebook, and I think this is going to be a fun one to journal through. I think quitting in the online space or as entrepreneurs, often, if maybe you've even heard your clients say this to you, right? I really feel like in some ways it's used as a false threat. And kind of like a cry for help. It's the cry for help of something is not working and something needs to shift, right? But this really doesn't freak me out. It should not freak you out if your clients say this to you. It should not freak you out if you have these thoughts. It should not freak you out because, and I'm going to unpack why it doesn't make me nervous. Because again, for the most part, when most of my clients actually pencil out everything on paper, how much money they're making, how many hours they're working, how much time they've actually put into it. Maybe they're like, oh, my visibility isn't working. Okay, I posted twice so far. They haven't even been visible for 30 days, right? When we look at it data-wise, almost always we decide not to quit. But I think putting quitting on the table is useful because what it's doing is it's evaluating. Is what I'm doing worth my time, energy, effort, and attention? That is a great question to ask all the time, not just in our business, but in our life, right? Not that we want to go around being flaky, but being willing to say, is this thing in my life, in my business worth it? And it's safe to let go. Right? It's safe to maybe not quit this thing, but maybe I step back my energy. Maybe I made this commitment in my church, in my organization, and maybe I want to stop doing it for this season. Maybe I want to stop doing it forever. Maybe I just want to downsize my commitment, right? But I just think this conversation about reevaluating and being willing to let things go is powerful because when we feel trapped in it, it doesn't serve us. I also see women doing this with social media, where they'll be like, oh, I have to keep posting online on social media and I stopped posting and there's something wrong with me and I owe my audience to keep posting on social media. No, you don't. You don't owe anyone on the free internet anything. Should you keep posting? Probably, so that you can keep signing clients, but you don't have to, right? Does it serve most women to run a business versus a day job? Yes, it does. But it doesn't mean that you have to. And it doesn't mean that a day job is bad, right? I talked in another episode about we do this thing in the online space where it's a day job is the villain and an online course is the ultimate way to make money. And in between that is one-on-one coaching and done for you. No, there's nothing wrong about doing a day job in certain seasons of life, right? Or if that's feeling like the most aligned way to make money as a woman, go for it, right? When you put all the cards on the table and when you look at the data, you'll probably see that, oh, wow, every time I do that, I'm like, the amount of money that I'm making per hour is incredible, right? Versus if I went to a day job, there's like no way that could match. However, it's okay to put that back on the table, right? And again, not using it like a false threat and really being like, okay, yeah, I could quit if I wanted to. Well, what would that look like? How much could I get paid for a day job? What would be the expectations? How much am I getting paid in my business? What are the expectations, right? Like, it's okay to put that on the table and not make it a bad thing. Like, if I, for some reason, had to quit doing my business and I had to go get a job as a therapist or a secretary or whatever, right? Like, I would have no feelings about it. I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna go work and make money and feed my kids, right? When there's that neutrality around quitting, right, it gives it so much power. Like, yeah, I could quit and that could serve me, but I'm not going to because I don't want to because of X, Y, Z. Instead of like, I'm going to quit and blah, 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 right? Let me know if that makes sense. It reminds me of like, not that I've ever done this, but like giving a false threat to your kids. Like, if you don't stop that, then you're going to have early bedtime. Or like, again, like, there's nothing wrong with the alternative. It's just not saying it unless you mean it and being able to put it on the table in a way I think that's like more neutral. But I find that like if you're feeling this way or if you hear a client saying this, it's a cry for help that something needs to shift, right? But we don't want to trap ourselves and make it a villain thing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about quitting or failure on a micro level in business. I think whether is something in our business, like maybe we're testing out a new message, right? Or maybe we're testing out a new social media platform or a new freebie or a new webinar or a new income stream, like we launch a course or a product or a service. One way for it to quote fail or quit is without our choosing. Like if you launch a course and no one signs up, right? Another way is maybe you're launching a course and it's working, but you're not really enjoying it. You're not really enjoying the income stream. So whether the quitting happens to you or you happen to it, I think being willing to let go of things so serves us in business and life and trusting that the right things are going to come back to us. I shared a graphic on Instagram the other day that says something to the extent of like, just because you walk through the wrong door doesn't mean you have to stay in the wrong room. And this is the same thing as sunk cost principle, where often we stay in something too long because number one, we see quitting as a bad thing. Number two, we're afraid of like the loss maybe or the change. Even when change is good, like we're changing for the better, it can be hard. I'm someone that I struggle with transitions. But I do think that micro quitting, macro quitting, being willing to hold things loose and let things go that don't serve us is one of the biggest skills we can have. And so I just think, again, it's like not looking at quitting as a bad thing. Okay, so another thing I wanted to share is getting a little bit more objective, right? If you've done my CEO assessment before, if you don't have that, make sure that you download it. I also do free 20-minute CEO assessment sessions with women for this purpose. When you're at a crossroads in your business, it's like a one-page Google Doc. And I really have you look objectively, almost pretending like the business is not you. And really looking objectively at like what is working and what is not working right now. And just being brutally honest with yourself, right? Not like I suck and I can't get clients, but like, hey, Anna's business right now has an opportunity area. Do you like that reframe? To get better at attracting clients, to get better at closing sales calls, to get better at trusting and hiring teams so that I'm not overwhelmed with the back end of my business, right? Like, really getting clear with yourself on like, these are the things that are not working. I'm just going to say them out there and put it out. Not that there's anything wrong with me, but there is a challenge area in the business. And I'm also going to celebrate what is working and what I am proud of, right? And really looking objectively over like, what is that thing that's so annoying, so frustrating that I want to quit over? And can I fix it? Is it fixable? Is it solvable? Most things are. And this is why I'm a big fan, like whether this is a relationship you're working on or something in your life or something in your business, many problems are solvable, but it's just giving yourself permission to make sure you know what the problem is you should be solving. That's why I love those free 20-minute sessions, because this is so custom to each person in each business, but really nailing down what's the actual problem here, because you could solve 9 things in your business at once. You could get more visible on social media. You could create a freebie. You could hire a team member. but what's the one thing that most solves the problem that you're facing right now? Most businesses either have a problem with you need more cash, you need more clients, or you're full with cash and clients, but you need more capacity. So you need to work on systems and team, et cetera, right? But really getting clear on like, what's my challenge and what am I doing to solve it is the most powerful thing you can do. That's why I love in the mastermind, even you coming every week to the mastermind session and saying in front of people without shame and guilt, this is what sucks right now in my life or business, is so empowering, because before I give you advice, before the mastermind ladies give you suggestions, you're just getting clear for yourself. This is the thing that's the biggest problem right now. And this is what I need to be focused on solving. So when I've got a lot going on, but when I have CEO time, this is what I need to be learning and working on, right? If you're in an era of money mindset, like really studying and learning investing. If you're in an era of getting better at sales, really practicing your sales calls, right? Writing sales posts. Like, again, really making sure we're solving the right problem and having clarity so that in your limited time, you don't really need that much time in your business, but in your limited time, in those 1 or 2 quote extra hours, are you focusing it on that thing that's causing you to want to quit, that's causing frustration, that is that stuck point? And often we won't want to say that thing out loud because maybe it's a problem we've been stuck on for a long time. Maybe it's a problem that we have guilt or shame around. Maybe it's a problem that like we kind of want to solve it, but also we don't because we're afraid of what would happen when we do, right? When we get clarity around our visibility, now I have to get visible and I don't really want to. Once I get visible, that means clients are going to sign with me and I'm excited about that, but I'm also nervous because do I have the capacity for that, right? Again, there's so much behind that, but getting clear on like, this is the thing I need to be working on personally is such a benefit to you, right? Especially if you're in a safe space where you can share those things. This goes along with what I was saying too about being willing to quote micro quit, but I really find in business, so many women get too attached to specifics in their business and not attached enough to their big picture vision of success. This is actually, I've done a lot of things wrong in my business. I've shared this with you. But one thing I feel like I did right and what has really helped me succeed so well and so quickly for almost 10 years now is I'm pretty locked into a pretty macro version of success, right? It sounds something like, okay, God, universe, I want to make a lot of money because I want to be resourced and be able to take care of my 2 babies. They're 8 and 10 now. Isn't that wild? Okay, I guess they're not babies. And I want to do really fulfilling work. Like I want to be fulfilled and I want to work with people that are kind and respect my boundaries and have integrity and are almost like friends to me, right? One of my things I hated most about the corporate space is I had to have coworkers I didn't like, right? I had to reinforce policies that the university believed in that I didn't personally believe in. So for me, having my values and being able to stick with them is huge for me. Being around people that are kind and that are respectful, that's like people are like, oh, my dream client drinks this type of Starbucks drink. And is this from this country? Like, no, you know what your dream client is? She pays you. She's respectful. She's ambitious and she is value aligned. She shares a lot of your values. The rest doesn't matter so much. And this is why I have such a variety of clients. And I love it. I think variety of clients bring wealth. People that think different than you, people that in some ways believe different from you. Obviously, there needs to be some overlap of values, but like from different countries, from different ages. Like I think that diversity is just wealth, right? But anyway, back to macro, right? So getting clear on that macro version of success. And as my kids have grown, my macro version of success includes 3-day work week. Right? That for me, I'm like, I need a lot of money. I need a lot of time buffer because my life, for whatever reason, tends to have a lot of personal things going on, some without my control, some within my control, like dancing. But that's my big picture is like, I want to make like 300K plus on a 3-day work week. I want to work with really vibey people because I'm a people person. I like people. Like I love people. So I want to work with people that I like. Like I'm otherwise pretty detached. I'm pretty detached on shifting my message through the years, on shifting my ideal client, on shifting if this freebie works, if that freebie works, if this online course, if that online platform disappears, if I have to make a new course, if I'm pretty loose with that. And I think when we get too tight on this one freebie has to work, this one social media platform has to work, this one potential client has to convert, and if they say no to me, all is lost. That's where things start to feel so intense. So intense. Instead of believing your success is inevitable for those deal breaker things, like get out a piece of paper right now and write down those deal breaker things for you and get a little more committed to that and get a little less committed to everything else along the way, right? I think this goes to also like an entrepreneurial mindset more than like I own one business, right? I hope I get to own Heart-Centered Entrepreneur and be a coach till I die because I love coaching. I love this business. However, I'm not attached to this business. I really believe if I had to, like, I could start another business. I'm not going to because I feel perfectly happy right now. But I just think like realizing that we can have multiple income streams, multiple offers, right? Like multiple clients, like just really letting things be a little bit looser versus I think I've seen what holds a lot of women up is when we get too tight around one team member, too tight around one client, one message, one program, right? We get too precious. And I really learned this as I was like learning writing, and a big part of the writing process is editing, right? And the phrase is, I think this is Marion Elwell, is kill your darlings. But this idea that when we write like a chapter of a book, often we have to edit out things that we're like, oh, but I really like it, right? But if it doesn't serve the bigger book, are you willing to let it go? Are you willing to let it go? And I think for me, I'm just willing to let a lot go. And that I think has served me. Okay. The reason I think this is so important too is I find a lot of clients like life puts us in a hamster wheel. And I think often when you're used to the corporate world is a hamster wheel. And so when we start our own businesses, often we put ourselves back in a hamster wheel. We kind of go into that same formula, right? Okay, I guess I have to clock in from 9 to 5. I guess I need to show up 5 days a week. I guess I need to XYZ, right? Instead of really remembering that the beauty of business is that we can like smash every possible reality and recreate it for ourselves when it comes to making money. And this is both amazing and terrifying and why I like to provide like so many like templates for you, right? Because I think starting without a blueprint can be so overwhelming, right? And so I suggest to my clients, hey, make your package look like this. Start charging this amount. Here's the template for writing a social media post. Here's a template for creating a signature course, right? Not that your signature course has to be 12 weeks like I suggest. Not that it has to include a Google Doc worksheet in it. Like you don't have to use it, but I find starting with something is so useful because, right, we often don't even know it's possible, right? Until I told you like, hey, I work about 3 days a week, 3 weeks a month. You may have not even thought to yourself, oh, that's possible? Like I can do that? Like I can not work or work light on Mondays and Fridays? Like I can take a whole week off at the end of the month? Like how does that work? Right? And so I think it's just continuing to open our mind to possibility so we don't want to quit our business, right? Because I find that most often we want to quit when there's something that we're not allowing ourselves to have, whether it's a desire or a boundary or, right? Almost nothing that my clients have faced have I not been able to solve with a boundary. Might always not be a boundary that they want to do, right? But I find that when we get really fierce about what we want and get really fierce about going after it, that's where things get good and beautiful and sweet. And so hopefully that helps, right? If you are in a season of feeling frustrated, crisis, wanting to quit, like I would just, again, really encourage you to do more data assessing. I'm going to link the CEO assessment. You can also sign up for a free 20-minute CEO session with me. I can help you, no strings attached, get clear on where you're most stuck. Of course, I'm happy to help you sort that out in the mastermind if you're wanting my support over 6 months for creating $100K a year, $300K a year or more on a 3-day work week. Or you can get that clarity from that 20-minute session and you can go do it on your own. More power to you. I'm happy to send you on your way, but really getting clear on, let's look at the data and what is the thing I most need to be focusing on, right? Because in those chapters of feeling overwhelmed, of wanting to quit, We often isolate ourselves because we're afraid, scared, ashamed, whatever. But the truth is you need more help in those chapters. You need to reach out. Often in those chapters, we want to like press ourselves and overwork and download 17 freebies. When really what you probably need to do is rest. You probably need to rest, right? Again, I think it's like the survival response of like, things aren't working. You probably need to rest. And I am a pro at this now, right? I never used to nap. My friends used to like tease me in college all the time because I was just like, go, go, go. Like, I think I told you guys the story that one time I hurt my knee. So I was like walking slow and literally several people stopped me and were like, are you okay? When I was walking normally. Because I just always speed walking around campus. That was my MO, right? What was I going to say? But it's remembering like, when we have that urge to do that, like it's okay to slow down. It's okay to rest. It's okay to, have you heard that phrase like don't quit, rest, right? Like take a break. I am a big fan now of like taking naps. I never used to nap before, right? Or often I'll just, even in the middle of a work day, I'll just literally go lay in my bed. I love my bed and just kind of lay there under my big fuzzy blanket and like stare at the ceiling for 5 minutes. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. If you haven't had like a bed stare session, I highly recommend it, right? At first you might be like, oh, I'm alone with my thoughts, but like you really get used to it. And it's like creating a safe space, right? For me, my meditation corner is also that safe space. You guys know I'm a big active meditator. I have like my Kindle and my little affirmation cards but I also just love like a 5-minute bed session, right? Like stare at the ceiling and just let your brain like decompress a little bit, right? Allow yourself to rest and sending you a big hug and know that I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Please reach out if you need anything. And also, if you're listening to this in real time, feel free to sign up for that CEO session because enrollment for the mastermind is starting soon. I am recording this almost 2 months before the mastermind starts and we're already halfway full. So if you're listening to this and the mastermind fills, hop on a CEO session anyway, because I would love to put you on a wait list for the next round, right? This is the program. This is my private mentorship I most recommend if you're really wanting to master 6 figures plus on a 3-day work week. 6 months, what it includes is 3 sessions. We divide into 2 smaller pods, so you have plenty of time with me every week. And then we also have a workshop where we do quarterly planning, where we do mindset. You have weekly videos to help you with sales. Sales is the number one skill that has caused me to be able to create 300K, right? Being able to understand sales as a heart-centered entrepreneur and take on that skill is so important. That's why I'm passionate about it. So I have 12 modules to help you get better at selling. And then 12 modules around team and money mindset and really embracing what it's like to feel good about making a lot of money, just working a few hours a week, not feeling guilty about that and just getting really practical there. So, and also bonus one-on-one sessions when you do your sales actions. Because I want to bully you into doing your sales actions, okay? If you have any questions, feel free to sign up for a CEO session. I would love to meet you, get to know you better, even if you're like, well, I'm not sure if I'm going to do the mastermind this round and I don't want to waste your time. Like my girls are so sweet. You're not wasting my time. It's strings free. No, I'm not attached. I would love to meet you. I would love to help you, whether you join this round or in the next round or never. Just hop on the phone with me. I would love to chat. I'm very non-salesy, as you'll find out. And it's great learning too, because so often women are like, oh my God, like Anna, I didn't realize that like you're selling all the time, and I hope I'm a model to that for you of what it's like to be very heart-centered, but not pressury, not scammy, not salesy, really of service. And when you believe in your product and when you have a good product, like that can be easy for you, but it takes time, right? I also really had to work on my visibility blocks, my sales mindset. So I totally get it. Okay. Sending you the biggest hug and here for you. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out today. Please hit that subscribe button so you can make sure to stay updated anytime a new episode drops. And I would love for you to join me in my free Facebook community. It's called The Heart-Centered Entrepreneur. We discuss the podcast episodes. I regularly go live and do free trainings. And you may even meet your newest biz bestie. So you can join at heartcenteredcommunity.com. It's absolutely free, and I cannot wait to see you in there.